Good morning, everyone. Couple of different purposes for doing this video here today. I wanted to sit down in front of a camera up front without all this garbage in the background and do this, but I never had time and I have to keep working. So this morning I'm going to be working on an iPhone 5 logic word swap. It's a little bit of a favor for some folks that don't have a lot of money. So anyway, this kid's got a busted up iPhone 5 that works perfectly, and he has a perfect looking iPhone 5 that has a bad U2 chip, and it's just not it's not a repair that I want to do. iPhone 5 replacing that chip sucks. So really I want to talk about thoroughness, and how much attention is put toward doing these repairs correctly, and also how honest you are with your customers. We had a lady in here just a little bit ago. She was crying. I'm not going to say what kind of phone it was, or where she had came from, but she had came here and just had a simple screen replacement done, and she was in tears because she had been charged for this repair. It wasn't right. It was going haywire. It was clicking everywhere. It was doing crazy stuff. And when she took it back to tell them, hey, this isn't right, she was accused of lying because it happened to work whenever she walked in the door. I'm gonna keep working while I talk, and I'll turn on this other camera so you can see what it is that I'm doing. So anyways, she had taken this device back in and was basically accused of being a liar because everything that she said that it was doing, it was not doing when she walked in the door. Now, if you're in this business, you realize the defect rate on some of these parts. You realize that once in a while you're going to get a screwy part that acts screwy. So when somebody walks in your door and tells you what their phone's doing, you know, their screen's not broken. They're not like trying to get anything free out of you. They're God's honest, just looking for help with their device. But so this lady was crying because she was shot down. She was sent out of their pack and say, no, there's nothing wrong with it. Look, see, it works fine. And that's really just wrong, because if you're in this business, you know that you're going to have a defective part sometime. You also know that sometimes that's the way they behave. They behave perfectly, and then they mess up, and then they're perfect, and then they mess up. So when your customer comes in with that sort of an issue and you blame it on them, or in a lot of cases I see them blaming it on their device, that's just really, really bad business. And all it saves you from is a little bit of warranty work right now. You lose so many customers acting like that. All to save 40 or 50 bucks right now to put another screen in it, which in most cases you can get that money back. You have to wait a little bit because you have to send the part back, but in most cases you're going to be able to get your money back. So why not get your money back and make a happy customer? It kind of don't make sense. The screws in this iPhone 5 are all out of place. I hope there's nothing goofy wrong here that jumps out and bites me. So that's just one situation where these shops are lying through their teeth to these customers, or they'll dig in to repair the device and botch the repair, charge the customer for it, and blame their device. It's really out there, man. Something else that I see a lot is these repairs just getting flown through. It's all right to work at a pretty reasonable pace, and even a fast pace, because really you have to, but you have to be thorough. I open up a lot of phones that have had their screens replaced before, that have right off the bat you notice that the camera's all goggly-eyed and it's down to the side. Right off the bat you notice that that's wrong, and then lo and behold, whenever you go to do the screen replacement, they never glued down the little clip that holds the proximity sensor in place, which means that customer must have been really frustrated. Every time they go to make a phone call, it's, wow, this one might break. It's putting people on hold, muting the call, conferencing other people, and that's from your cheek pushing buttons when you're talking on the phone. And that's largely to do with the repair shop that put your screen in. They didn't get the proximity sensor in the right spot. And if it's not in the right spot and you put your phone up here to talk on it, it doesn't blink the screen and your cheek pushes buttons. So this stuff, you really have to pay a lot of attention to detail. And by detail, I mean fractions of a millimeter. Just a fraction of a millimeter out, and that proximity sensor don't work. And I take phones apart all the time where that component is out of place. And I know this customer, they had to have left the previous repair shop. They left the previous repair shop with that not working. So, did they call the shop? I know our customers would have. They would have called here and said, "Hey, this isn't working." So did they call the shop? What were they told? A lot of people that I mention this to, I give their phone back and say, "Hey, also your proximity sensor will work now. Your phone won't be putting people on hold." They'll be like, "Oh, thank you. It's been driving me crazy." And some of them are under the impression that it was just their phone. They never called the shop. They figured their phone was a pile of garbage when it went in there. They came out with a working screen, and then that was good enough for them. But their phone wasn't right, and the shop that did it didn't make it right. There's a lot of good shops out there. Don't get me wrong. We're in touch with a lot of really good people, but there's also a very big handful that are just iPhone 5. There's a really big handful that I really don't know how they sleep at night. Blame this stuff on their customer, knowing dang good and well that it must be a defective screen. Whoops. But to save their butts from spending a little bit of money, they've lied to that customer. So if you're a repair shop and things go wrong with the repair, you know it was your fault, but you lie to your customer, just quit it. Go up front, take your sign, flip it around the closed, and go home. You're giving the rest of us a bad name. Many of us are doing a very good job. We're being thorough. We're making sure things are perfect and work right. The camera is in the center. There's not a bunch of dust in it. When there's a problem and a customer comes back and they say, "Hey, you worked on my phone, but it's doing this," we automatically think of what could this be that we did, and we start trying to solve this problem for our customer. Where many of these shoddy, swanky repair shops, they automatically say, "Well, you must have dropped it," and start looking for stuff wrong with the phone. And deep down inside that this shit's defective sometimes. It's pretty likely to be a defective part. If you put a screen in their phone and they're coming back to you saying, "Hey, every once in a while it just goes crazy when I'm trying to type," and you stand there and deny that it's the screen, blame it on their phone, "Oh, you must have dropped it," just quit. We get customers in here all the time that are automatically concerned about warranty and how long you're going to stand behind it and what happens if this and that. And I can understand why. I totally understand why these customers are really worried about. Um, they're worried about what you're going to do. A lot of them just automatically don't trust you. And that's because they've already been mistreated by swanky repair shops that lie about shit, that do everything they can to get it out the door and get it to work just long enough to get that money. They don't care if the phone's falling apart a month later. They don't stand behind their guarantees. So, I'm sure they tell you about the warranty, but a warranty is really only as good as the person that's giving it. So if you've gotten a warranty from some crazy jackass that's no good at standing behind his word, your warranty is just as good as squat. You go back for help and they're just going to say, "Here, your problem, not mine. I put a screen in your phone. I didn't have anything to do with your proximity sensor. I put a screen in it." So, like I said, if you're one of these shops that does this, just quit it. Those of us that are really trying to do a good job and pouring our heart and soul into this so that people have working equipment, you're giving us a bad name. So anyways, that's the main topic of this video. I'm going to go back to repairing this phone. I don't know how much more I'll talk about that topic because it's really straightforward and it's obvious. You know when you're lying. Your customers know when you're lying, but still somehow you feel right about shooting them out the door. I don't understand. it's not worth 40 or 50 bucks to send a person out there crying that's going to go out and tell 200 of her friends what kind of an asshole you are. So just quit it. If that's the way you're going to do business, find something else to do. If you can't fix this stuff good enough so that people are happy and genuinely happy to pay for it because you fixed it, they got what they paid for, they're happy. So if I lost my train of thought on that one, but you know, every day people are coming in the door with this garbage that's been repaired, and it's like, well, no, it's not working right. Look, they got all this in the wrong order, and that how in the hell did they? So, you know, just an example there. I'm going to go back to working on this phone, but you got to do good work, and you got to stand behind your work, because if you're being a jerk to your customers and not standing behind the work, the rest of us out there that are doing a good job, they got to put up with your repercussions. They got to put up with these people that automatically think that you're trying to rip them off because that's what the last guy did. And it's really hogwash. So, all right, back to this iPhone 5 logic board swap. I get pretty worked up about that stuff because I really take pride in the work that I do. We take pride here knowing that things were done properly, that customer is going to leave here and not have any issues. And if they do have any issues, I know that I'm going to solve it for them. I've got the parts here in stock. I've got plenty of screens in stock. And plenty of chips, plenty of connectors. If somebody comes back in here with an issue because of something that I've done, I'm going to spend the $2 or $3, half hour worth of time, or $30 or $40 to make a happy customer. Because that's, you know, that's worth everything. Your name in this business, it means everything. All right, so this is our bad logic board. Good phone. I'm going to set this logic board aside. Everything looks pretty good otherwise. Made a couple of silly mistakes taking that one apart, forgetting a screw here or there, but that's because I'm talking, I'm on camera, fairly certain that I'm going to upload this video. Alright, pop this thing apart. It's amazing what some of these screens will put up with and still work. This kid was using this phone when he walked in the door. Alright, working iPhone 5. Let me make sure I had the power off. I did. Alright, let's pull apart phone number 2. Now, these screws are in the right place. This phone's not been taken apart before as far as I can see. So we've got our non-ferrous screw and the shield for the connectors up top in the right spot. I'm actually going to put the screws out of his busted up phone back in the good phone, because then I'll know everything is in the right spot. And that's the way you should be sending phones out of your shop. Not half-ass, not a bunch of dust under the camera lens, and then making up excuses as to why it's not right, or making up an excuse 3 weeks later as to why their screen's falling out of the phone. You know, there are so many little details that you have to pay attention to. My nerves are still a little bit off this morning. I got a tiny bit of a jitter, and part of that's from being on camera. I don't do any really small work first thing in the morning unless I have to. I know FedEx is going to be showing up this morning with some mail-ins. And today's one of those days I'm going to have to wait until early afternoon before doing them, because I have to make sure I am absolutely still. And maintain a very steady focus. I did a video on calmness, and you know, an hour after I did that damn video, I was working on a iPhone 6 Touch IC replacement. I was doing the second chip, was actually doing the Mason IC. and I had a little bit of an issue because I used a different alloy on the pads whenever I cleaned up the pads. A different alloy than what I'm used to. So I had a tiny bit of an issue, and I went ahead and decided, you know what, I'm not even going to power this board on. I'm going to redo this chip. So I did. I heated it back up, took the chip off the board, and okay, this is his SIM card. I'm going to keep all this to the left because that's going to get transferred. I just got a way I do things here. I keep it laid out so I don't get confused and do anything stupid. So this is his white one, black one. I'm going to leave the SIM cards in the same color of tray just to be extra sure I get those right. So anyway, an hour after I did that video on being calm, I botched that repair. I wound up somehow, I don't have the schematic open in front of me, or I'd tell you which components it was. Somehow I knocked a little string of stuff out of place. It was 2 capacitors and some sort of an inductor. And so yeah, it would normally take me 20 minutes to do that repair successfully. I worked on that piece of crap for an hour and a half and got it right. Phone worked great. Happy customer. But frazzled technician. That's an area of the board where you can't apply too much heat. You got to be really careful about how much heat you put there because the processor is on the other side. So when you start doing extensive repairs like that, and myself, I like to use hot air, and I don't have a set of hot tweezers yet, and my smallest iron is too small to get down in between in the area that I had to get into to put that stuff back into place. And I wound up having to take one of the components off of an iPhone 6 board, put it on the iPhone 6 Plus board because it had popped off my tweezers, and this stuff is so small, if it pops off your tweezers, it's gone forever. And yeah, so I did that video, and then an hour later I was eating my words. Man, I was eating my words. It was somebody that was getting ready to pick up their phone in the next few hours, and it was just like, oh, this sucks. Man, this sucks. But the right thing to do is to remain calm, take a deep breath, and fix what you messed up. Sometimes it really sucks, but it's not impossible. Might seem impossible sometimes. For that repair, I wound up using the tip of my smallest tweezers. I couldn't get in between those components, so I had to just kind of nudge them around and use fluxes and surface tension to pull the stuff back into place the way it goes. Now, thoroughness. Before I put this back together, I'm checking to make sure no dust settled into the camera lens. Okay. Looks good. I'm really tempted to do a battery swap on this one, but I'm not going to. Okay, so we're going to move him into this new housing. This little antenna, Wi-Fi antenna cable plugged in. You know what? I'm going to leave that just like it is. I'll get it. Yes, too many shops lying to their customers. You know, I've never known anything other than repairing electronics and networking and computers. I've never known anything outside of being independent and helping people fix things. It's never been any different. But when I came into this business, expecting that everybody else was better. Shit. I came into this business expecting that I would need to hide in the shadows because somebody out there would find out how bad I suck. And that's not been the case. What happened when I came into this business is I found out how bad everybody else sucks. And I started to realize how often they're lying to people and telling these outrageous lies. Did that come all the way out of the back? It did. So they're telling these people these outrageous lies, and come off there, motherfucker. But thoroughness, a half a millimeter, a quarter of a millimeter, something as tiny as this little piece of garbage. Being out of place is the difference in your customer's phone being right or being worked on by some swanky repair shop that didn't get it right. So why not be thorough, people? That don't feel just right. I'm going to pop it out and look. No, it don't look right. It's good though. You know, it doesn't hurt to double check and recheck and make sure it works, because there's nothing that sucks worse than putting a phone all the way back together and a customer coming back and saying, hey, ever since you worked on my phone, nobody can hear me talking. And the response that they're getting from these really dirty repair shops that lie to their customers is, well, I only put a screen on it. I didn't have anything to do with your microphone not working. So that's your problem. And then give them a price to fix it. They know damn good and well, if you're one of those shops, you know damn good and well you did something wrong. You know damn good and well you covered up that microphone with a piece of adhesive or something didn't go back into place right. But for whatever reason, you think you're too busy, or you want to save that little bit of time it takes to get that customer's phone fixed right. You blame it on their device, and you blame it on them. And you don't warranty that part. You're only going to warranty the part you put in. So if you're one of those shops, just quit it. Because the rest of us have to put in with people walking in our doors. And when I say people walking in the door expecting you to rip them off, it's all day long. You know, we've got a real good reputation in this town to where people have a lot of trust in us. We've got the AT&T, Verizon, and Sprint stores that send business to us, and we stay really busy from that. And one of the big reasons why they send business here is because they know we're not going to screw anybody around. We're not going to lie to them. We're not going to tear up their phone and then blame it on their phone. All right, let's get the rest of these little standoffs in. I don't even know what to call these. I call them standoffs because that's what you call them when you're putting a motherboard in a PC. The little standoff posts, which haven't did that in a long time. I don't miss computer repair. I used to do nothing but computer repair and networking, and now I do nothing but microelectronics repair, and I really, really enjoy it. I enjoy making people happy and having happy customers. I like to be able to sleep at night knowing that these repairs were done right. I gotta get a new chair. I normally work in a chair that I can raise up and down depending on what job I'm working on, and if I'm using the microscope, I'll raise it up so I'm level with the microscope and I keep my back straight. But that chair is wasted. Right now I'm working on a wooden bar stool, and man, it sucks. Alright, not doing anything stupid, am I? Not so far. Okay, double check our camera. Looks good. Okay. I always double check and recheck things because I like to do it once. I don't like for a customer to come back and have a problem and, you know, they're getting ready to leave with this phone and head out to wherever it is that they're going, and now they've got a problem. You're in the middle of 10 other repairs, and this customer comes back and they need it fixed in 20 minutes because they're leaving. It sucks to work like that. So you have to be really thorough. Make sure everything's right. Pay attention to really, really minor details. Because if you don't, it's going to suck. You're going to have problems. Whether or not you decide to stand behind your word is up to you. And how you deal with those problems is up to you. But I highly suggest you don't lie about it. Don't blame it on their phone. Take a device that walked in your door working and send it back out the door as a pile of trash. That's terrible, and that's what a lot of you are doing. I know this because we get a lot of business from you. We get a lot of business from other shops that come in here and they don't know that they were mistreated. And sometimes they're not even bringing in the same device. They were just unhappy with their last experience from you. So they brought their next device here. And while they were here, they spent a little bit of time talking about the device that they took to you. And the device that they took to you had some repairable problem or was actually messed up by you, and then it wound up going to its grave. Perfectly healthy phone. Customer could have been happy, had their phone working, but because of you, the phone went to its grave. Most of my videos I plan on being pretty positive, but with some of the experiences that we've had in the last few days with people coming in and automatically assuming that you're going to charge them more money than what you told them, they come in assuming that you're not going to honor your warranty. They offer up all these hypothetical situations where what happens if this, what happens if that, and it's because they've been burnt. They've been burnt so hard that they automatically assume that you're going to screw them. When they come to you, you're going to screw them. That's what they assume. Not everybody, you know. Just the ones that's got a bad taste in their mouth for swanky, shady business deals where they know dang good and well it was fine, and now it's not fine, but you're telling them it's, you know, it's something that had to do with their device, even though they've been using it for the last year, broken like that. You put a screen in it, and now they can no longer use it, and you're going to blame it on their phone. Unbelievable, people. So if you're in this business, do all of us a favor. Be really thorough. Do a good job. If you're not charging enough money to do a good job, probably need to adjust the way that you're thinking. You have to charge according to the job that you're doing. So, you know, if you're going to charge somebody $25 to install a screen, there's a damn good chance that you're not going to be able to spend the amount of time that it takes to make that customer happy. You're not going to be able to deal with the warranty. You won't be able to buy that part again if that customer has issues. So it really does help to be thorough. It helps a lot. It helps your customer. It helps you. And you have to charge enough money so that you can provide that level of a service. If you feel like you're suffocating and you can't make sure the dust is gone from the camera lens, if you can't make sure that that repair is right, if you don't have enough time to make sure everything is right, the proximity sensor is right, you're not charging enough money. You got to make sure this stuff's right. Now, sure, there's a lot of customers out there that are just going to be stoked with having a working screen. They don't give a crap if they put it to their ear and the screen don't blank. They don't talk on it anyway. All they do is text and Facebook and stuff. But there are many customers out there that want this stuff to be fixed right, and you just, if you're a customer, you have to be careful about who you take your phone to, and that's really sad. If you're a shop that's doing shoddy work and lying about it, you just really improve your techniques to a point where you know that you're doing it right. Don't lie to the customer and take their money. It's terrible. This phone's going to be flat dead I'm going to grab a charger. I didn't plan on this video being that long because I was just going to do an iPhone 5 logic board swap. We've got a battery icon, so this thing's charging. I'm going to make sure that everything is perfect on this phone and get this device back to them. Let's go ahead and close the screen up. I know everything that I did's good. If I crack this screen, I can blame it on the customer, right? Wrong. Alright, white. White screws, white phone. All the screws are in the right spot. Everything has been put back together the way this phone originally was. I didn't leave any screws out. I was very thorough. Now, unless this housing has a button or something that didn't work, had some pre-existing issue, every bit of work that I did is perfect. This phone's good. And if the customer does come back, if they come back and say, hey, nobody can hear me talking, I don't care that the microphone was part of their pre-existing housing that they brought in. I don't care that that's not my fault. I did this job promising this person a working device. So if they come back and say, hey, nobody can hear me talking, or when I FaceTime somebody, they can't hear me, but when I'm on the phone with them, they can, I know that that's not my fault. That's the sense, the flex cable here at the top of the screen, most likely, unless it's a board related issue. But I'm still going to give them the time of day. I'm still going to fix it for them. I've given them a price to fix this phone, to get this job done. And if it doesn't work when I'm done with it, there's no explanations that I can give. There's nothing really that I can say to tell them that it's your phone's fault. If you worked on the phone, it's your fault, even if it wasn't your fault. So in order to be successful in this business, you got to be willing to accept some of this stuff that's not necessarily your fault, but you gave that person a price to fix their phone, to finish what it is that they asked you to do. They didn't want to do it themselves because they didn't want it to turn out wrong. They didn't want to get it done and have something that didn't work. They didn't want to try it and fail. That's why they brought it to you. So even if it's not your fault, you got to help your customer out, or you're given a bad name. So I'm going to say it one last time on this video, and then I'm going to stop the recording and put this other phone back together. It's not going to work when I'm done. I'm just going to kind of fly through it and put it back together. But even though it ain't going to work, I'm still going to put all the screws in the right spot. So if you are a repair shop that lies to your customers, if you are a repair shop that puts things back together wrong, if you're a repair shop that continually blames things on your customer, they come back in with an issue over something that you've done and you blame it on them even though you know it's you, your customer knows it's you, most likely. If you're one of those places, just stop. The rest of us enjoy what we're doing. You're giving us a bad name. You give the rest of us a bad reputation. We love what we do. You probably love what you do too. And if you really want to continue doing it, improve your techniques to a point where you're doing it right. So that's all I have to say for now. This iPhone 5 is done. This boy will be extremely happy because everything will work. If it doesn't work, I'm going to open this phone back up and fix whatever it is that he has wrong. Because we stand behind our guarantees. When we give you a warranty, we mean it. We're serious about our warranties. And these other shops, you got to stand behind your work. This business is hard to be in. It's already difficult to be in because of the price of electronics versus price of repair part. The good shops out here, we can do without the negativity. We can do without the bad names. Because it's already difficult enough to do this successfully and have nothing but happy customers. So, I'd probably spend 20 minutes or 30 minutes or an hour a day talking less if I didn't have to correct people's misconceptions about what kind of treatment they're going to get from the repair shop. So I hope you all learned something from this. I'm going to be uploading a lot more videos that are actual repairs. going to have a camera on the way for this microscope very soon, and I'm going to start doing live repairs under microscope that shows you exactly what I'm doing on some of these board level repairs, because I love it. It's really awesome. So I encourage you to subscribe to my channel. Click like on my videos. There's going to be a lot more to come. It's not all going to be this boring. I'm going to be showing you some really cool stuff on your microscope. I'll try to cut these videos as little as possible, but sometimes there's just really boring shit that you're not going to want to see. But as far as mistakes that I make, I'm going to be leaving that all in. So that's it for this video. Subscribe to my channel. I'm going to have a lot more stuff getting uploaded. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a good day.